Have you ever watched a tennis legend walk off the court knowing that, for perhaps the first time, someone else truly owns the moment? That was the feeling inside center court after Jannik Sinner defeated Novak Djokovic in straight sets to reach the Wimbledon final. The scoreboard showed a dominant victory, but what happened after the final point told an even bigger story. Many expected celebration. Others expected Sinner to declare that a new era had officially begun. Instead, his reaction surprised almost everyone. Rather than talking about replacing Djokovic or ending an era, Sinner chose his words carefully. He praised the man who has dominated Wimbledon for years and admitted that beating Novak on this stage was something he had dreamed about for a very long time. It wasn't arrogance. It wasn't revenge. It was respect. And that single interview changed the way many fans viewed the 23-year-old Italian. Because while social media focused on Djokovic's defeat, Sinner focused on the journey it took to get there. Just a year ago, many people still questioned whether he could consistently perform on grass. Wimbledon wasn't supposed to be his strongest surface. Even after winning Grand Slam titles elsewhere, there were still doubts about whether he could conquer the sport's most historic tournament. This week, he answered every one of those questions. He stayed calm under pressure. He served with confidence. He returned one of the greatest servers and defenders the game has ever seen. And perhaps most impressively, he refused to let the occasion overwhelm him. For years, center court belonged to Novak Djokovic. Players often entered believing they had to produce the perfect match just to have a chance. Sinner didn't chase perfection. He trusted his own game. That confidence became the biggest difference between the two players. But after the match, instead of making headlines with bold statements, Sinner delivered a response that revealed exactly why so many people believe he could dominate tennis for years to come. And what he said about Novak Djokovic may have been the most important moment of the entire day. From the opening games, it became clear that this wasn't the same Jannik Sinner who had struggled against Novak Djokovic in years past. There was no hesitation. No fear. No sign that he was standing across the net from a 24-time Grand Slam champion. Instead, Sinner played with the confidence of someone who genuinely believed he belonged on center court. Every time Djokovic tried to extend a rally, Sinner responded with clean, aggressive ground strokes. His backhand repeatedly took time away from Novak, while his serve gave him countless free points when the pressure was highest. What stood out most wasn't just the quality of his shots. It was his composure. Against Djokovic, many players begin to panic after losing a few important points. They rush. They force winners. They drift away from their game plan. Sinner did the opposite. He stayed patient. He trusted the patterns that had brought him to the semifinal, even when the atmosphere inside center court grew louder. As the match moved into the later stages, it became obvious that Djokovic was searching for answers. The Serbian legend tried changing the pace. He mixed in slices. He approached the net more often. He attempted to disrupt Sinner's rhythm. But every adjustment was met with another confident response from the Italian. For fans, it felt like they were watching more than just a semifinal. Felt like a changing of the guard. Yet the most impressive part came after the final handshake. Speaking in his on-court interview, Sinner didn't focus on ending Djokovic's dominance or proving that he was the new king of Wimbledon. Instead, he spoke with genuine respect. He described facing Novak on center court as an incredible challenge and acknowledged everything Djokovic has achieved at Wimbledon throughout his career. He also thanked the crowd for creating an unforgettable atmosphere and admitted that reaching the Wimbledon final was a dream come true. That reaction immediately caught fans' attention. Instead of making the victory about himself, Sinner reminded everyone that champions are defined not only by how they win, but also by how they speak after winning. And perhaps that's why so many people left center court believing they had witnessed more than just an upset. They had watched a player who understood the responsibility that comes with becoming one of the faces of modern tennis. But with the biggest match of his Wimbledon career still ahead, one question remained. Could Jannik Sinner finish the job and lift the trophy that has defined tennis greatness for generations? Reaching the Wimbledon final is something every professional tennis player dreams about. Winning it is something entirely different. As Jannik Sinner left center court, the celebration was brief. He knew that defeating Novak Djokovic, as remarkable as it was, meant very little if he couldn't take the final step. That mindset has become one of Sinner's greatest strengths. Over the past 2 seasons, he has transformed from a talented young player into one of the most consistent competitors on the ATP Tour. The difference isn't just his improved serve or his powerful baseline game. It's the way he approaches every match with the same calm mentality. Whether he's playing in the first round or a Grand Slam semifinal, his body language rarely changes. That consistency has earned him respect throughout the tennis world. After the semifinal, many analysts pointed out that Sinner never allowed the occasion to control him. Against one of the greatest players in history, he continued making smart decisions instead of chasing spectacular shots. It was disciplined tennis. And disciplined tennis often wins the biggest matches. Still, Sinner himself refused to get carried away. During his post-match comments, he made it clear that the tournament wasn't over. Reaching the final was a special achievement, but the job was only half done. His focus immediately shifted to preparing for the biggest match of the fortnight. That attitude says a lot about his mentality. Many players celebrate reaching a Wimbledon final as if they've already accomplished everything they came for. Sinner doesn't seem wired that way. For him, every milestone is simply another step toward a bigger goal. That's one of the reasons fans have started comparing him with the game's most successful champions. Not because of the trophies alone, but because of the discipline, humility, and relentless desire to keep improving. At the same time, Novak Djokovic's defeat also sparked conversations about the future of men's tennis. For more than a decade, the sport revolved around the dominance of the Big Three. Now, a new generation has begun proving that they are ready to compete for the biggest titles on the biggest stages. Sinner has become one of the strongest symbols of that transition. But he isn't trying to erase the past. He's trying to build his own legacy while showing respect to the legends who inspired him. And that balance, confidence without arrogance, is exactly why so many fans have embraced him. Now, with one match left between him and the Wimbledon trophy, the pressure will be greater than ever. The question is no longer whether Jannik Sinner can beat the best. The question is whether he can complete the journey and turn an unforgettable semifinal into a championship that defines his career. As excitement built around Jannik Sinner's run, another conversation quietly began to grow. Was this simply one incredible Wimbledon performance? Or were fans witnessing the beginning of a new era in men's tennis? It's a difficult question to answer. Novak Djokovic has spent nearly 2 decades proving that writing him off is a mistake. Time and again, he has responded to setbacks with remarkable comebacks, reminding the tennis world why he is considered one of the greatest champions the sport has ever seen. Sinner understands that better than anyone. That's exactly why he refused to treat this victory as the end of Djokovic's story. Instead, he acknowledged the challenge of facing a player with such an extraordinary career and made it clear that earning a win against him on center court was something he deeply valued. Those comments reflected the maturity that has become one of Sinner's defining qualities. He isn't interested in creating headlines through bold claims. He prefers to let his tennis do the talking. And right now, his tennis is speaking louder than ever. Throughout this Wimbledon campaign, Sinner has shown remarkable composure in pressure moments. Whether protecting a lead or facing difficult games, he consistently trusted his game plan instead of letting emotions dictate his decisions. That level of mental strength is often what separates Grand Slam champions from talented contenders. It's also why so many former players believe Sinner has all the tools to remain at the top of men's tennis for years to come. Still, every generation faces its defining test. For Roger Federer, it was learning how to turn talent into sustained greatness. For Rafael Nadal, it was proving he could dominate beyond clay. For Novak Djokovic, it was breaking through an era already ruled by legends. Now, Sinner stands at the beginning of his own chapter. The expectations are higher than ever, but so is the opportunity. One victory has already earned him a place in this year's Wimbledon story. One more victory could place him among the champions who lifted the most prestigious trophy in tennis. And that is a completely different level of history. When people look back at this Wimbledon, they'll remember the scoreline. They'll remember that Jannik Sinner defeated Novak Djokovic in straight sets to reach the final. But those who watched closely will remember something even more important. They'll remember the way he carried himself. In a sport where emotions often take over after a career-defining victory, Sinner remained composed. He celebrated the moment, but he never forgot who was standing on the other side of the net. That respect spoke volumes. His words after the match reflected the mindset of a player who understands that greatness isn't measured only by trophies. It's also measured by humility, discipline, and the ability to stay grounded even when the entire tennis world is talking about you. For Novak Djokovic, this defeat is undoubtedly a disappointment, but writing off a champion of his caliber has rarely been a wise idea. Throughout his career, he has repeatedly shown that setbacks can become the starting point for remarkable comebacks. As for Sinner, the biggest challenge was never the semifinal itself. It was what came next, the Wimbledon final, a stage where pressure reaches its highest level, where every point carries enormous weight, and where champions are remembered forever. No matter what happened after the semifinal, one thing had already become clear. Jannik Sinner wasn't just winning matches. He was earning the respect of fans, former players, and even many of those who had supported Djokovic for years. Because champions don't only make statements with powerful forehands or brilliant serves. Sometimes they make their biggest statement with the way they speak after the match is over. And that's exactly what Jannik Sinner did. He let his tennis make the headlines. Then he let his humility tell the rest of the story.